Hi there, Pisces. Welcome to Feathered Serpent Tarot. This is my first monthly forecast on my channel. I'm excited to be here. And your reading is last. I'm sorry that it's taken longer than everybody else's. I'm learning how challenging this really is. But I'm thinking that possibly the advantage of Pisces being last is that you're going to get the benefit of sort of the patterns that I've seen throughout all of the signs so that you have a better idea of how things are running. So it's been pretty intense for most people. And so the basic themes seem to be relationships, clarity, truth, complete endings, new beginnings. Oh, we've got the Knight of Wands, so perhaps there's a fire sign in your orbit right now. So I'm just going to let that be as I continue to lay out your reading. There's a lot of fire going on. And for whatever reason, there are some signs that are having a much less intense time than everybody else. You might kind of be seeing the rest of the signs kind of all scrambling and, or withdrawing, kind of going off on their own or dealing with their own stuff. Let's see here, Five of Wands. There could be some conflict going on with you. Maybe some confrontations. Like I said, there's a lot of fire here so far. And then in the recent past, you have the Fool. So Knight of Wands at the center, Knave of Wands crossing, and then as your obstacle, and the Five of Wands as the foundation. So conflict, fights, confrontation, that sort of thing. In the past, we have the Fool, so there could be some issues around trust. Yeah, and we've got the Ten of Wands. So maybe things have just been too intense generally for you. So maybe Pisces is also experiencing some challenges. Let's see here, Two of Wands. But the Two of Wands is good. It means you're taking stock in a very positive way. It's kind of I would say really close to a state of empowerment or a steadying of oneself before taking the next step, kind of thing. So you are being represented by the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is someone who's sticking to traditional codes, values, agreements, staying committed to things. Can indicate like commitment in a relationship. And then in your environment, you have the King of Cups. So someone who is very loving with you. Wow. Let's see what goes on past here before I say exactly what's going on. So in your hopes and fears, you have the Three of Pentacles. So it's building foundations, work. Oops. And then you've got the Eight of Pentacles. So yeah, there's a sense of willingness to put in work on things, being attentive to things and nurturing them to grow, be it a relationship or a business idea can be applied And then we have justice. So perhaps you're dealing with a relationship that's karmic, or that that whatever's happening is something that you've worked hard for and that you likely deserve. Yeah, and your final card is the High Priestess. So you're really in tune with yourself. Perhaps you've had to go through some conflict and some adversity to feel like you could stand on your own 2 feet. Um, but there's something that's still really oppressive, or that feels like a burden. So let's get some clarifying cards out and we'll see what's going on. Yeah. So it's like I get the impression that you've got the Four of Swords over top of your central card, which is the Knight of Wands. So it could be there could be a fire sign that's with you now, theoretically, that you are having some issues with. So fire sign is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And then as we progress through this, in your environment, you've got the King of Chalices. So it's either the same fire sign, but in a more loving place, perhaps after the Five of Wands, the conflict or confrontation. So it could be looked at in both ways. But and you're either finding a restful place with somebody, or you really need rest. And the Knave of Wands, we've got clarified by the Strength card. So this could be a Leo, a younger Leo, in in your environment, and perhaps that's kind of, maybe that's what's going on. This could be a sibling situation, perhaps, um, or there was a situation where you were in with a fire sign and you put your trust in them, and it wasn't warranted for whatever reason, and now you're carrying a burden as a result of that. So let's see what's in. Okay, so yeah, there's the Moon card came over the Five of Wands with all the conflict. So this could be disagreements because information isn't being shared amongst people. Whether it's secrets or not, I don't know. It just, not everything is known. There are things hidden from you. And then in the past position with the Fool, we have the World card. So the completion of a cycle, or the ending of trust of someone. Yeah, I'm thinking that may be it. That someone betrayed your trust, and it's causing and it caused you a lot of anxiety, and you're not happy. Up at night, can't stop thinking about it. Lots of horrible thoughts. So with the Ten of Wands being the overall kind of okay. So you're tired because, um, you've managed to, I don't know, it's like this has been a hard won victory, whatever the outcome of this confrontation was. So, and this is really intense stuff because it's just wands everywhere, and all the way through to the short term uh, outcomes. So let's see. Ooh, yeah, Two of Pentacles. So, you know, you're finding your balance. You're figuring it out. The chaos is now behind you. Yeah, this is very, very similar to most signs out there. So, and there's a lot of interaction, uh, between the elements of fire and water, fire and earth. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think the air signs are doing probably best out of everybody these days. Um, in the position of you, Hierophant, tradition, structure, commitment. Um, you know, we've got the Queen of Wands. So this is still you, especially out of coming after, out of all of this fiery energy. There's probably some transit in astrology that's lighting up Pisces these days. So yeah, you are really, really good with the way that you've conducted yourself in whatever conduct where you didn't have enough information and you had to confront somebody about that. This is exactly what's bringing you out of this particular cycle. So on the King of Cups and your environment, we have the Ten of Swords. So this is the card of everything falling apart, or the feelings of tremendous betrayal, a lot of pain, where either your thoughts have gotten the best of you, or you just you feel like everything's just in ruin. So perhaps this king has, maybe you're supporting him in a really tough time, him or her. Someone very mature and loving. And through this adversity, it looks like you may have found love together. So, this is great. A lot of the times this is kind of what happens. You get to a breaking point on one thing and boom, you're open to the next, and everything's completely different. There's very much shifting of paradigms and patterns for people this month. It's going to be pretty intense. I don't think any of us are going to really feel it, the exhale, until we hit July. So go easy on yourself. And in terms of work and building a foundation for yourself, to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and not have to depend on other folks, it's like you want to be lucky, but, as we move into the final outcome, as long as you're willing to put in the work and stay true to yourself and be fair with other people, your intuition is going to carry you to where you have to go. So there's no reason why your luck cannot change. This is exactly what seems to be happening for everybody. So this is great. So, but we're still feeling this Ten of Wands, and depending on, I'm kind of seeing it bringing into view whatever the situation is with the King of Cups that has resulted in this new beginning. And then also with the outcome in terms of being willing to put in the work with someone. but that it's still heavy. I mean, it's still heavy because the Ten of Swords is a heavy card, and so but at least it's brighter in this one. And let's see what ends up happening for those cards with the rest of them. So on Justice, Sorrow. So yeah, this is probably, I'm thinking that there's something happening here with the King of Chalices. There may have been a tragedy of some sort. Yeah, and the Hermit. Um, if there's a brief time where you're not together, grief also seems to be a big theme this month. So I would just be patient and realize that that you can be the person that they come to, when they need to talk about how they're really feeling. But yeah, in terms of love, this is sometimes love is not always a happy, relaxing thing, but this is the direction that it's going. So now that this really tough, exhausting situation is passing, it looks as though the two of you will be able to move into something really beautiful. So, yeah, this also could be a situation where family isn't supporting this particular relationship. But you haven't betrayed whatever the core values are of your family by wanting it. Perhaps you had to stand your ground around it, but you're moving forward anyway. So yeah, stay true to yourself, Pisces, and yeah, that was while it may be a very stressful time, it looks as though you're probably happier in a new relationship than you've been in a really long time. I know a few Pisces who've been on their own for a while, and there's an underlying sweetness. The Two of Cups really is one that's a very sweet and true kind of love. So yeah, Pisces, I'm happy for you. And make sure you're getting lots of this, as I've been telling all of the other signs. It's time to rest, there's a lot of growth happening, and we need to take our time. So take care, Pisces. I hope you come back next month. And in the meantime, I'm going to have a few other kinds of things to offer on my channel. So stay tuned. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you in July. Thanks. Stay in love.